Hello and welcome to another edition of your favourite podcast, Insane in the Membrane.
Insane in the Membrane.
Hello everybody, welcome to another edition. I'm glad you're here. Thank you for keep coming back. I really do appreciate it. It's busy, getting busy. Gigs are happening. It's all happening. Everything's happening. It's good. It's all good. Before we get on with it, and before I tell you what's been happening, we get your membrane tees and hoodies. If you haven't already, you should have done that already. Those lovely lads at SOS Clothing, they take care of our merch, and not only do they do that, they have a wonderful range of garments themselves. So if you go to their website, sosclothing.co.uk/membrane, if you use the promo code membrane, that's one word, you will get 15% off, not just of our merch, our tees and hoodies, but you'll get that off across the store. What's not to love? 15% off. Come on. They're good lads doing good things. It's ethically sourced, it's vegan friendly. What's not to love? Hey, they're good lads, Mark and Stacey. Thank you for doing that, boys. We've got some news coming up about that as well, but that'll be later on. Coming up, we've got some more merch things coming up, so we'll let you know about that in due course. And also, don't forget to get your limited edition Insane in the Membrane coffee beans from wogancoffee.com in Bristol. Use the exclusive Membrane listener promo code membrane, that's one word, and you'll get 10% off our podcast packs. We have one in the studio. Producer Paul has got one, and we had a look. Very cool. You should get on that. So that if you go to if you go to wogancoffee.com, use the exclusive promo code membrane, that's one word, you'll get 10% off of our podcast packs. And if you get one, can you send me a picture, please? I want to see you with it, and we'll stick it up on the website. So do that for us. That would be first class. Also, don't forget to check the episode notes each week for links to our guests, our merch, and our new YouTube channel, where you can see me in action in the studio and occasionally the back of producer Paul's head. I mean, what's not to love about that, eh? So yeah, we've got a YouTube channel. We've been videoing these, so go to that. Check the link. Check the links in the episode notes. It's all there for you. All the links, because producer Paul is brilliant at what he does. Because if this was just left to me, well, it wouldn't reach your ears. I've got to be honest, it wouldn't be anywhere near you. You wouldn't even know it existed. Just be me screaming into a laptop. So well done, producer Paul, for making this actually get out there into the airwaves. Thank you very much. So yeah, I'm getting out there. I'm gigging. Things are happening. I'm all over the place, actually. I'm going to tell you where I'm going to be. Where am I going to be? Because last week I would have been in the backyard. This coming week, I am going to be supporting, next week I'm going to be supporting Clinton Baptiste from Phoenix Nights, the clairvoyant, I'm getting the word, it's him. So I'm going to be in St Helens on the 24th, supporting Clinton. I'm going to be also in Ilkley, up near Leeds, on the 25th. And then I'm going to be loads of places. I've got a website with all this on, actually, so you should check that, richwilsoncomedy.com. Was it richwilsoncomedian.com? Either one of them, put them in and find me, and all my gig dates will be up there, so come and do that. And yeah, so I'm around and about the place. Come and see me, come and say hello. Right, let's get on with it, shall we? Shall we get on with it? I think so, because this week my guest is Ashish Suri. Now, I met Ashish. I met him at a gig in, where was it? I think we talk about it in the episode, actually, where we first met. It was Little Smash, that was it, down in Southend. And we got on famously straight away. He's a top dude, brilliant comedian. He's got a really interesting background, so I was really keen to get him on to have a chat. I'm always keen to talk to people from other places because, especially places I've never been. So he's from Delhi in India, and I've never been. I don't know much about the place. All I know are the stereotypical things that people tell me about. So it was interesting to have a chat to someone who's actually from there. And that's the thing about comedy. We talk about it in the episode. It's such a great chat because realising how lucky I am to know people now from all around the world through comedy. It's a wonderful position to be in. It's something that I forget sometimes when I'm having a bit of a moan and I'm sat on a train and I'm coming back from somewhere and I'm like, oh God, I'm not going to get home until 2 a.m. You're like, yeah, well, could be worse. Could always be worse. You're a very lucky man, Richie. So don't forget that. So Ashish came on. We had a brilliant chat. So coming up in a bit is Ashish Suri.
A podcast from producer Paul.co.uk.
Insane in the Membrane.
How are you, man? You good?
I'm good, so how are you?
I'm good. This is how we start.
Thanks so much
by
for
the way.
this.
Dude, I've been meaning to get on phrases. But
Well,
here we are, because big fan of your work, and yeah, very funny man. And I just want to find out more about you. I want to find out your back, because there's science involved somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm sure I heard that.
Unfortunately, at some points, yes.
What science is it? Are you an actual scientist?
Yeah, so I've got a dual core engineering degree. I'm an electrical engineer, and I'm also an electronics engineer.
Are you really?
Yeah, and that's why I left the country. I was just too intense, just full of us.
Everyone's got to say, yeah, to a penny. Whatever.
Basically, because my mom and dad are both engineers. So one of them is an electrical, but my dad's an electrical engineer. My mom's an electronics engineer. So when I was growing up, I was like, yeah, I guess I want to do both.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is the thing, like in this country, when they talk about, like, where are you from originally?
Oh, I'm from India. I grew up in Delhi. My family is from the north of India.
Yeah. This is what annoys me about certain people in this country, certain people, and the way they talk about India is so derogatory and you're like, yeah, but you haven't got a fucking engineering degree. So what are you talking about? Like, I've seen this before when I've been elsewhere, other countries, and I've been with people that are rude to the wait staff, and the wait staff are chatting away, and they're like, their English isn't their first language, and these people are really fucking rude. I'm like, hang on a minute, this person here speaks, as far as we already know they speak more than one language. You don't even speak English properly, so how the fuck are you being such a dickhead to these people? It blows my mind. It blows my mind, you know.
I'll be honest with you. If somebody doesn't talk to me in proper English, I'm just like, fuck off.
I'm going to go then. I'm going to go.
I'm messing. No, I get that. It's kind of a thing. I think it's like a cultural thing. Because like in India, there's it's at certain places, well, a lot of places, there's a certain amount of bias as well.
Okay.
So it's not like it's like a one-sided thing. It's just, you know, like we grow up, our history lessons are basically how we got colonized for 200 years.
Oh, yeah.
So there's like this repressed kind of like annoyance as well. That's why even you'd see people who'd be like third generation Indians, you know, their grandparents or their parents, second generation, their parents were from India and they grew up over here. They'd still support India in cricket.
This is the thing, 'cause like you just said, because I was brought up to be taught that the British were the kings of everything. You know, we just ruled everything. We went around and we were just helping everybody. Because up until then, you know, you had nothing. Everyone elsewhere had nothing. It was us Brits that brought you everything. And you're like, but now you do like proper research and you hear the real stories. You go, oh fuck, no. We were just running around stealing.
I mean, look, nobody can deny it. Like, the British were good at management.
Very good at PR.
Yeah, you can hit, like, people are like, oh, how did they manage to do it? I was like, they did, and you have to accept it. And was it good for the world? No, but
no. Considering we're such a shitty, not shitty. There's good bits. There's good bits to this, but considering we're such a tiny place, we have done a lot of damage.
I remember some of this because when I was growing up, I was a geek. I didn't have a girlfriend till I was like 24. That's like 7 years ago. So I used to read a lot of books, and I remember one of our course books, history course books. So what they do in India is like you study history in school as a general subject for like 6 years. So maybe year 6 or year 5 you start studying it, and they split it out. So once like early history, which is, you know, cavemen, you learn how fire was discovered and stuff like that. Then there's medieval history about kings and queens and whatnot, and then you have modern history, which is basically colonialism and everything. And when we started studying like modern history, there was a bit where it said over the course of like the next few chapters or stuff like that, we're going to understand how an island country like, you know, the Great Britain managed to conquer more than half the world. Those were the exact words.
Wow.
And it's something to like. Yes, there's goods and like they're mostly bad bits, but it's still like something to learn from, like how that happened.
Yeah, it's when you think back, and this is what people. I've noticed this recently. This is what. Hang on, my Siri on my phone's decided to. Not now. Sorry about that.
This is literally why I have an Android, because my last name is Suri. Every time somebody says that, it just gets screamed.
Just phone's going off everywhere. What now?
Every single time.
So what? But this is so. I guess people I know now, like family members that have been stood in front of me, going, this country, we used to be great. You know, we went around, people feared us. You know, that's not a good thing. That's not a good thing at all. Why do you want that? And it's that's what people are harking back to now.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
you know, and you're. Did you? I mean, that like so you like you say your relatives sort of they were more they sort of bore the brunt of it. You know, so that must have been tricky to deal with.
It was weird because so my dad's family's from Pakistan. So when there was this whole partition thing happening, when India and Pakistan split up, so my granddad, like basically my dad's whole family had to emigrate to India. And when I used to have these conversations with him, he was really passionate about it. Because he was a part of the actual, the freedom struggle and everything. He used to tell us stories about how they were like two of his cousins, they were twins. I mean, I laugh at it. It's probably pretty serious. But one of them was the more notorious one. So he used to mess up with like the British, and there'd be protests and he'd be like stoned, like brindos and everything. And the nice twin used to get arrested.
Oh, shit. I suppose it's easy to get him. They couldn't understand why he was walking around so casual. Because they didn't know.
There was a point where I thought, like, maybe he didn't realize they were being racist and they just weren't twins. But that was actually the thing. And I used to have these conversations with him, and it was like the kind of stories he used to tell me, they were pretty intense. Like, I remember because so it was the whole religion thing, right? Because I think at some point Pakistan declared themselves as like they had a state religion. Like, Christianity is the state religion in a lot of European countries. Yeah. So a lot of Hindus like emigrated to India because India at that point was secular. And what they were doing was apparently they didn't have any supplies, so nothing to eat, nothing to drink or anything. And most of the supplies they would get on the route were being poisoned. So they were told, just don't eat, any apples or oranges.
Oh my God.
So they did like a day's worth of train journey or 2 days worth of train journey, like starving themselves just to be able to make it out alive. And it's just, you hear these stories and it was like, wow. And I'm there like eating like, with chicken kebabs. Like, oh, that's
oh, that's terrible.
Why did you do that? Do you want some?
This is the thing. I still find, even this morning, I find myself literally just before we did this, I was moaning. But I'm like, the fuck, trains and travelling I have to do. And then you hear a story like that, you go, yeah, I'm all right actually. There was a vending, vending machine.
Well, it's like, yeah, it's a learning experience. You pick up these things. The most troublesome bit was when I first came to India. Like, I first came to London and I was traveling back to India for the first time. I'd started dating someone. She was Irish and coincidentally white as well. And the first time I went back, it was a little bit tricky to have this conversation with my granddad because he's like, did you manage to find someone? I was like, well, I think so. And he was like, is she white? I was like, yeah. He's like, those British. I was like, no, she's Irish. He's like, no, they're all white. I was like, you're being racist now. How do I explain this to you? This is not how we did it.
Yeah. I mean, imagine if they had a conversation, she'd probably say the same about the British.
I think that's how we fell in love.
Oh, right.
No. It was. I think I'd like to think she fell in love with my personality.
Of course, it's a It's a wonderful personality, Ashish. That's why we're friends, mate. That's why we're friends. So you're... Go on.
No, I was just going to fanboy at you. So that's fine.
You're going to say what?
I was just going to be like fanboying at you. It's like, because I've told you the story. Like, we started this conversation and you were like, oh, I'm a big fan of your comedy. And in my head, I was like, well, you're one of the reasons why I started doing it.
Oh, mate.
So it's always like, do you remember the first time we met? I think it was at Little Smash at the Alex.
Yes.
And you were sitting in the audience. I was like, oh my God, is that Rich Wilson?
Oh, mate. Oh, bless you. That was a good night, that.
Oh, I still have it on, like, I recorded the whole thing.
That's a good gig. I like that gig.
It's a lovely gig. I'm doing it this evening.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
It's not at the Alex, but I'm doing it at a new venue. It's called the Seafront in Southend.
Nice. Oh, you're with Marcus Birdman.
Yes. I'm really excited about that one.
He's a top dude. You'll enjoy it. That'll be another great night. So you studied to be a scientist, and then you went, fuck that, I'm going to be a comedian.
No, there was like another degree between that.
Okay. What was the next one?
It was like an IT MBA thing, like a business information systems thing. That's how I ended up in London. I came here for my master's. And then I did that. And then by the time I graduated, I managed to get a job. So I was like, oh my God, I can make money. So I stayed back. And then I started dating the lady. And we were together for some time. And then there was a breakup. And that's basically, it was acrimonious in the sense, like, it wasn't a bad breakup, but me being like, I was in a different country. My friend circle, my support circle was completely different to what I grew up with. So I kind of spiraled down into like this weird depression, alcoholism, like the usual stuff.
Right.
Yeah. And I started to come out of it. That's when I started going to Up the Creek and started watching comedy. And like I said, you were one of the two people that I used to go to Up the Creek just to watch. Because it was you and Daniel Kitson. You guys used to be, I think, the resident MCs at the point.
Yeah, we do it quite a bit. Oh, mate. That's one and only time I'll be in the same bracket as Kitson, let me tell you that. I think
you guys are, to me, you both are equally amazing. I just, that's how it goes in my head.
Thank you.
And then I started dating someone else. And when we broke up, that was like the turning point.
Right.
Where I was like, I need to get my shit together. And I've always wanted to do comedy. So I just Googled open mic nights, found one. I went down to watch how it goes. And then the next week I booked a spot. It was at this place called the Lion's Den. It's still going.
I know that one. Yeah.
And that's basically what kicked it off.
Nice.
And then 1 gig a week. And then people like, you should do more than 2 gigs a week. And then, you get addicted. And it's like, do I do cocaine? Do I do comedy? Comedy's cheap.
It's much cheaper. Well, it used to be. Train fares now. Might be you just get a really big coke habit and just do videos from my room.
That is the dream.
But what I find amazing, and I did a gig the other week, and everybody that was on, I think 90% of the acts were from another country, and I was watching, and I was just like, not only are these people doing comedy, but they're doing it in a second language, and I find it mind blowing that that people can do that. It's I mean, and I don't mean that in a patronising way. I just mean it's how do you find it? Because the nuances and the is it just the same?
The differences. There are differences, and the language is basically one big thing. But then also like where you do it. Like I can do comedy in English in India. Right. But it's going to be different. Like the jokes are going to be different, and everything. And then it's not even just like we talk about different things, but it's like how you say it. Because the one thing I realized, which is I think I'm just an idiot. I picked it up late, but it's like what word you actually use to describe something or
Yeah.
like what you're trying to say. But then when I'm doing comedy in the UK, it's like the slang is different. The local slangs are different.
Yeah.
So you have to understand this. It's like, I'm not comfortable using the word mate. You
No,
know?
really.
I'll be like, I still use dude.
Dude works. I like dude.
So it's like it's more like it rolls off the tongue easily for me. But like things like those, like because I grew up watching a lot of American sitcoms, so it's like Bucks was the one thing. It's like, oh no, we have to say quid. So things
yeah.
like those. Picking up. So just knowing the English language isn't enough. Like being able to pick the local slangs and everything.
Yeah.
But it's good though. It makes at least in my when I'm on stage or when I'm trying to do comedy, I'm more aware of what comes out of my mouth.
Right.
I'd like to think most of the times.
Yeah. I think more people should be more like that. So are the rhythms the same? Do you know what I mean? Because I remember I went to a Polish comedy night and I didn't understand what they were saying because it was all in Polish, but the rhythm was the same. So it was like da-da-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da, a big laugh, and then a tag on the end, ba-da-da-da-da, another laugh. So is it a similar thing?
Yes. I mean, I've not done... So English is like my third language. So I speak Hindi and I speak Punjabi and
Right.
English. And I've not done much comedy because I started doing comedy in London.
Okay.
So
right.
I've done a handful of gigs in India, but it's always been like a mix of Hindi and English.
Right.
But when I do watch like Indian comedians, yes, there is. Like, because and I only started noticing it after a while, but yes, there is a rhythm. Like you can pick the beats up. And it's not even with the joke structure, but you're like, the punch is coming.
Yeah.
Or not even the punch, the laugh is coming.
Right.
And you can even see it on the performer's face. It's like, yeah, they knew about it. So I mean, people use the word rhythm and beat and everything, but it is literally like music.
Yeah.
Where, it doesn't matter what language you're singing in. It does. I'm kind of fucking up the music nuance. This guy comes in. But it's similar.
Yeah. That's what I thought, because you could, like I say, I didn't understand what they were saying, but I could hear what was happening, the build up to it, and then the punchline, and then the tag afterwards on top of the punchline. I was like, okay, yeah.
But are you so like, it's, again, I'll take the music analogies. It's bad, but I'll go with it. It's like, when you listen to music, like a song in like a different language, like a lot of the Spanish or like even French songs, you're able to pick the emotion up. When you watch comedy in a different language, are you able to like pick the energy up, like when you're watching and listening?
The energy, yes. Even because I found myself smiling, even though I didn't know what was being said.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I imagine that was really funny. and then there's the odd word that you do know. You kind of go, oh, right, okay, all right, I see what they're talking about. Or you'll be with somebody and they'll go, oh, it's a joke about this, and this. And you go, right, yeah, okay. So, and I think it was just fascinating to see. I love languages. I just wish I could speak more than one. I just could never pick it up. I could never do it. I don't know.
I mean, English is pretty good as well. It's like, that's why I left the country. I was like, couldn't speak the other two. I was like, English, I can.
Oh, really? they're hard work. I'm just going to do this one.
There are too many alphabets. I'm happy with 26.
There's so many alphabets.
It's like.
But over here now, we're now in the middle of a huge wave of talking about mental health. People are a bit more aware of taking care of their mental health.
Yeah.
And which is a good thing. It's, absolutely, because, there's been generation after generation of people that, especially men, men and women, I'm not all genders, that haven't really discussed it before, not on this level. And I'm just, do you know, is it the same back in Delhi? Are they having this similar conversations, or is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's opening up now. But like, I like to think that I'm a part of the transition generation.
Yeah.
I'm a part of the generation that grew up with landline telephones. Then we saw the mobile phones.
Right.
And now that I'm an adult, I see the smartphone. So I've seen that transition, and I think that is a culture-wide thing. So it applies to a lot of other things outside of technology as well. And like mental health is a big thing. Like when I was growing up, I don't think people talked openly about having therapy or going to a therapist.
No.
And even the term therapist didn't exist. There'd be like psychologists. And if somebody went ahead and be like, "Oh, I'm going to the psychologist," they'd be like, "Oh, you're going for psychotherapy." Like, it was a taboo kind of thing. It's like, "Oh, this guy goes to a psychologist." Like,
Yeah, there was an assumption that there was something something wrong.
Yeah,
Whereas,
and
where you're just trying to, sometimes you just need to recalibrate.
And I'm kind of happy about it, because that just means that as society we are evolving, and it's a global thing, not just a cultural thing. Because I'm not a fan of I don't like stereotypes.
No.
But sometimes some stereotypes you can understand where they come from and how they get perpetuated.
Yeah.
Like I grew up in Delhi, and it's like one of the 6 metropolitan cities now, which is so Delhi pretty much we'd catch up on all the global trends. Like if something was cool in London, we'll probably get it in like 2 or 3 years, and it'll be there. But then when people talk about India is like so rural and the village people and everything, I don't like that because that's not something I grew up with.
No.
But I do know that outside of that bubble of Delhi, or like you have London and Greater London, so we have National Capital Region. Outside of that, those things do exist.
Yeah.
And they need to be discussed about. It just hurts. But now, like, it is becoming a good thing. It is becoming a big thing that people are more open to discuss, and more averse to be like, yeah, maybe you're not the crazy one, and there is something that people can do to help you.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think we're now coming away from that assumption that there has to be something drastically wrong with you, whereas it's, like we said, it's just a case of I don't feel right. I need to talk to someone to help me feel better. And I think because I think everybody, this is what I've learned from being lucky enough to have travelled around a lot. And I've said this before on here. People are fundamentally the same, different cultures, different ethnicities, but on a fundamental level, we're all pretty much the same.
Yes, I agree. Completely agree. Yeah. I mean, I always use, my family is from the north of India. So there's like my summer vacations, basically, I used to spend 2 to 3 months up at my grandparents' place every year. My mom and dad were just like, stay away from us. We've had too much of you. And so there was that element of like me growing up in the north as well. And I'm going to say this now. People from the north are batshit crazy. And I'm not saying north of England, north of India, any part of the world. If you come from the north of any place in the world, you're fucking mental.
Apologies to our northern listeners.
No. I mean it in a good way. I put myself in that category. Because like the first time I went to Manchester, one of my mates, he was staying in Macclesfield.
Yeah.
And I went there and I was like, you do the comparisons. People up north in India love their chicken. Oh, people up north in this country love their chicken. People up north in India love their rum and whiskey. Manchester, like, we're literally the same people. We just like, one side, we just have a different tan.
Do you think there's something about, maybe, the people from the north do seem to have they seem to be more chilled out as well.
Yeah.
And more open, maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'm dealing with stereotypes again, but they do seem more chilled out and more open to things, rather than kind of down south seems a bit more tight and a bit more closed in, maybe.
Yeah, it's the same. Like in India, if you go down, like one of the southern states, Kerala, 3 of the main southern states, one of them has the highest literacy rate, like 93%. Wow. When I checked the last time, like they're all educated. It's just like, and they are a bit uptight, like, but it's back to what you were asking. I was like, I think it's people around the world are just the same. It's just nuances and differences in culture and everything that we grow up with. But if I am to go to, like, if you go to North India, if you go to India and people are like, oh, where's the place where I can find the most loud and lovely bunch of people who just get drunk and start hugging everyone? People like, just go to the north.
Yeah,
which
right.
I think is the same over here. It's just like, I went to when I was in Macclesfield, the very first trip. Me and my mate, it was just the two of us. So it was just like, we watched the Man U game. This was this was so far back. I think 2014.
Wow.
And we watched the Man U game, and it's like, do you want to? I was like, yeah, of course I want to get drunk. And then we went in there, and we were ordering at the bar, and there were a couple of guys, and they just looked at us, and they're like, you're not from here. And we were like, we're going to get beaten up. And they're like, oh, we got tourists, come on in. And they just asked us to join their table. And then we're getting drunk with this random group of people. And they were the most amazing bunch. They were buying us, shots. And every time we went, it's like, no, you're our guest. I was like, what? It's amazing.
But
it's the same.
Yeah, it is the same, isn't it?
Yeah, and you go to India, that's the same. I remember, so in India, we share border with Pakistan, right? So there's this ceremony near one of the gates where it's happens every day, and you find people. And I remember there was this one. I was there with my mates, and we made friends, and we made a couple of friends from Pakistan. And they were like, if you ever come over, they just gave their number, their address. Like, you have to stay at my place. I was like, dude, I just met you 5 minutes ago. And they're like, no, you're one of us. Like, you have to come. And it's like, this is.
I remember one of my first ever friends when I was growing up, Arahan Danji. And Arahan Danji was from Pakistan.
Yeah.
And he and I used to swap our sandwiches. So he would have my horrible 1970s white bread, mild cheese, margarine, sweaty awfulness. And I would have his spicy meat sandwiches. And I'd never tasted anything like it in my life. It was incredible. And he used to love mine. He's like, oh, these are amazing. I don't taste of anything.
Do you won't believe, like, a cheese toasty in India is like a delicacy. Like, you only have it on special occasions. I'm just saying.
Birthdays and other holidays. Yeah.
It's amazing. And I think that's one of the reasons why I like comedy as well. Because it got me out of a dark place, but I've met so many amazing people. Like, I had a chance to talk to Tez Ilyas.
Right.
He was doing his Camden Fringe show, and he was there, and I was like, after the show, he was just sitting, and he's such a nice guy. He just, chills. Like, people come down to see him, and he'll be like, okay, if you want to talk, I'll talk. And so his family is from Pakistan, and we were talking, and turns out, like, his family and my dad's family basically are from the same place. We were just trying to figure out which village it was. That's the beauty of comedy. It's just like, I've met so many amazing people that, I don't think, like, this conversation, it's this, like, even outside of comedy, we've been on a train ride or two. We've talked about music.
Well, that's it. I've met, I knew Arahan when I was a kid, but very rarely did I meet anyone that was from elsewhere, from other places. And through comedy, I've got friends in all manner of places now, all over the world, and that's all through making people laugh. And that's what. Right. So now, now I'm just saying it. Now I'm like, I was moaning this morning, like, well, fuck you. But now I'm like, yeah, listen to yourself, you fucking privileged dickhead. You've got friends all around the world. You've travelled. You've done things. You're having this conversation now. You fucking sort yourself out, knobhead.
No, you're like, I'll say this now. If I'm in a room full of comedians, and if I say the name Rich Wilson, not once have two things, right? Not once have I ever heard a bad thing. And every time I say a name, there's always a smile on people's face.
Oh man.
Like, that's the kind of reputation you're working with.
No, that's
so
nice.
It's just like, it's because I was doing this gig the other day. So it was Kate Checker, Kate McGann, and the two Pete Wilson. Like, it was just like a gig.
Yeah.
And we were just discussing the recent gigs we've done. And I think Kate McGann was like, oh, I just gigged with the Rituals in the other day and he fucking smashed it. And I shit you not, Kate, Cheka and I, and it was just like, oh, I fucking love Rituals.
Oh, that's nice, man. Well, let me blush, man. Let's get back to the disc. But you were talking about earlier about drinking, and was that? I mean, were you brought up religious?
Yeah.
Did that go against? Was your drinking? Did it go against that?
Kind of, but not in the sense like, you know, if you're drinking, you're sinning. Like that's that. I was about to go on another tangent. That is my ADHD, by the way.
That's all right. Go where you want.
It's because I'll come to that later. But like when I grew up, nobody in my family used to even drink alcohol. Like I know my dad used to, like, before like my mom and dad settled down, he used to. But it was just a conversation that he had with my mom once. My mom was like, well, we have a family now. Is there a point to drinking or anything? I don't like it. And my dad was like, fine. I don't, you know, it's not a thing that I need to drink and everything. And that's like a cultural thing as well, is in the sense like we drink, but it's more prominent over here in the sense like if we go out, we drink. But in India, it's just like, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't,
yeah, right.
And I didn't grow up with that. I did grow up religious, but it was like the thing that, you know, if you drink, alcohol is a bad thing. But it wasn't like if you drink, you will go
You're
to hell.
cast out.
It wasn't like that. And then people kind of mistake this with like, because a lot of times people ask me, it's like, oh, are you a Hindu? And I was like, yeah, I was raised as a Hindu. And they're like, oh, then you must not eat meat or you must not drink alcohol. And I was like, that is a misconception. Because we have like, if you go to like the east of India, like Bengal, West Bengal now, there are like deities, like gods and goddesses, that if you worship them, you offer them like fish.
Right.
Like the priests would like offer them fishes. And there are other gods where if you go outside the temple, what's the term? The worshippers, they offer whiskey.
Oh, really?
And you sit outside. There are people just sitting outside with like bottles and funnels, because then you just, you know, offer a bit to it, and then everything else comes out to the worshippers, and they get whiskeys. Like
so one big sesh.
Basically, literally, that's literally how it happens. Like you're sitting outside, and it's not like, you know, Hinduism promotes alcoholism. That's not what I'm trying to say. But it's a part of, you know, the religion or the culture. But that's not something that I grew up with.
Right.
Which was, again, when I came to this country, a part of the culture shift that I experienced was, you know, like people at work would be like, every Thursday, you know, just go out for a pint or everything. With someone like me, the kind of environment I grew up in, I wasn't acclimatized to. Like I'd be when we used to drink, we used to hide it from folks, and it'd be like maybe a New Year's thing, or if somebody's, you know, birthday.
Right.
We wouldn't be like, oh yeah, it's Thursday, let's just go out for a quick pint.
Yeah, right. So are there bars and things around that you can go to?
Yeah. But it's not, again, as prominent as, you know, in Europe or like North America, the Western world.
But you do have places where you can go and get a drink if you wish.
Oh yeah. Yeah, loads of them. Especially now. But yeah, it was never that. It wasn't a part of my upbringing.
No.
And also, like, when I was growing up, it wasn't a cultural thing. Like, people drank, people socialize, but it wasn't like, oh, there's a bar down the road, let's get pissed.
Yeah, right. I tell you what, I'm going to, because I'm trying to cut back, because I've been drinking too much. I don't drink at home. But because I'm always out, and someone goes, oh, do you want a pint? I go, yeah, go on then.
Yeah.
And because I don't want to upset anyone, I'll go, yeah, go on then. And even when I've gone, right, today I'm not drinking. And then I'll go out and someone goes, do you want a pint? I go, yeah, go on then. I'm going to become an alcoholic because I'm too nice to say no.
That's how it happens. If you're too nice, that's how I picked up crack cocaine. It was just like, couldn't turn down people.
I just don't want to upset anybody.
But it's the thing. Like I there was a point where I realized that this is now getting out of hand. How do I keep a check? And then I like you said, you don't drink at home. I also made a rule for myself, which was like I never drink by myself.
Right.
It's just a simple thing. Like
Yeah.
I never drink by myself. But when I was in like the bad state of mind, then I was just like, I just go to a bar and be like, oh, bartender, sir, you're going to be my new friend. Let's drink together.
At least you're not on your own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cause when I started comedy, the first 3 months, I put this for me. It's like, if I'm doing comedy, I'm not going to be drinking. So the first 3 months of me when I started doing like comedy, I didn't drink a single sip of alcohol.
Right.
I was just to keep myself away from all those things. It was just basically what happened was I was dating this girl. She was fucking amazing, fucking phenomenal, and we were clicking together. But then she picked up on that as well. It's like every time we went out and everything, we were just like, drinking, and just I was over indulging a bit.
Right.
And I still to this day remember her words, and she was like, we're both gonna be 30 soon, and I want to be with someone who's like, you're lively and everything, but someone who's a tad bit responsible.
Right.
And she's like, if I want to date someone who just goes out and gets pissed every time, I just go back to university. And that kind of like struck a note, because it was like an intervention, but there was nothing wrong with what she said.
No.
It's just like, and that's when I was like, I gave myself a weekend, and I was like, what outside of drinking do I really want to do? And I've always wanted to do. And stand-up comedy was one of those things. And I was like, I'm in London,
Yeah.
I used to play music back home, and I always wanted like open mic music nights.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm pretty sure there's open mic comedy nights. So that's basically the switch.
Yeah, right, okay. Yeah, it's funny, because it used to be, back in the 90s or whenever it was, when stand-up comedy really blew up, like alternative comedy. And they were still, I hear the stories of some of them getting lines of coke and pissed and still doing the gigs. But then
Could you give me the names?
Yeah. No names, Ashish. No names. But before that, I mean, I was working with Ted Robbins the other day, and Ted Robbins was big, like back in the 80s. His niece is now Emily Atack. That's his niece.
Oh, okay.
And so, but him and his sister, Ted Robbins and Kate Robbins, were big way back. And I did a gig with him the other day, and he was telling me all these stories. He was telling me about Les Dawson and Bob Monkhouse and all these great people. And he's telling me all these stories. And they were all drunk. It's just, but I was like, wow. He went, yeah. What happened was they'd either take up golf or they'd take up drinking, and there was that, and that was it. And so all this, like Bob Monkhouse, he was telling me how much booze he used to do before a gig. Oh, Jesus Christ, I'd be in a coma.
The thing is, like, I'm not a functional alcoholic.
No.
I think I did throughout, like, and I talk about, like, since I started doing back in the day. Okay. I've not been doing it for long, but, like, throughout my short comedy life existence, I think I've only done 2 gigs where I went on stage with, like, alcohol. That's another one. I think because I'm OCD as well.
All right.
So I think I can, like, if I can place rules on myself, it kind of sometimes makes it easier. Like, I've got a rule now that I don't, like, drink before I go on stage. As simple as that. Not a single sip of alcohol.
Nothing.
No. And I was just like, if I'm doing 3 gigs in a day or 2 gigs in a day, I'll be like, I'm not gonna sip alcohol till I'm done with the last one.
Right. So do you drink? Do you still drink?
At the moment, I've not had alcohol for like the last 2 months.
Right. That's good, man.
I mean, holiday season is coming up probably.
Oh God, I know. This is a terrible time for me to go. I'm going to cut back. But
it's going to make you strong, Rich.
It's going to make me round. I don't know about anything else. But do you find that drinking helps with your OCD and your ADHD, or doesn't really affect either or? Either way.
It definitely didn't help with it.
No.
So it didn't. It was the other way around. And it was also like, I didn't really get diagnosed or get it picked up like until like, it's more of a recent thing. Like before comedy, obviously. Obviously, like, yeah. No, it was, but I did figure it out later. And once you get to know all these things, you can see like how it's going the bad way. Like, I know. So I'm more comfortable drinking spirits. Like whiskey is my poison of choice.
Right.
Like I enjoy whiskey. But then in my OCD head, it was also like, if I go out on a date and I was like, oh, the last time we met, we had whiskey and it was a good date. So I was like, I have to drink whiskey this time as well. And it's like those really tiny, minor, stupid things.
Yeah.
But like when it adds up, it's just like, it's not, for me, it wasn't good.
No.
I know a lot of people who can keep a check on it, which is fucking amazing for them. And I'm kind of envious. But there was a point where I was like, I was becoming, not like intentionally, but I was becoming like a bit toxic person.
Right.
But it wasn't just for me. If it was just affecting me, it would have been fine.
Yeah.
But once it starts, affecting people around you, you have to be like, no, I need to.
I know what you mean. I get a bit too boisterous sometimes, and I have to be told to calm down. So I'm having such a good time, but people go, "Oh, whoa, take it down a few."
We definitely have to go out for a drink because I'm a happy drunk as well. Like I'm the kind of guy like once I'm drunk, I'm just like, if I'm drinking, you're drinking. Shots for everyone.
Now that's the difference. I can't do shots. That's when the wheels come off, because every single time I've ended up doing shots, it doesn't end well. I always wake up and just like, I'll wake up in the morning and like still dressed, and you go, oh, well, okay, all right. Well, what happened? No, well, at least I didn't have something to eat. And then you go, oh no, I did. I had 6 kebabs. And then you go, well, at least I didn't upset anybody. You go, oh fuck. And then you remember the face. You don't remember what you said. You just remember the face of the person that you go, oh god, yeah. Oh shit. Yeah, I've said something. What have I said? Then you go through your messages, you're like, oh my God. I've gone from declaring undying love. Oh yeah, me and you forever, baby. And then fucking... wrong number, who this? Yeah. Just throw your phone away.
It's happened. And that's the thing. It was just like, I think I'm more comfortable like being able to enjoy it now. Like I know I can keep a check. And my friends are basically like, look, you behave like a drunk in general. I don't think you need alcohol.
Everyone always thinks you're pissed anyway.
Well, I mean, look at my face. Like the number of times I'm at the bus stop and a random, Mercedes or BMW stops in and the guy's like, hey, bro, do you want some weed? I was like, bro, no, I don't. I look like it.
You look super chilled. That's what it is. You just look super chilled.
See, okay, and now I know you're being nice.
Well, yeah, that's what you do. Every time I see you, it's like, super chilled. Yeah, whatever.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, no, it's good.
That is what I'm going for.
Say what you like about Ashish, but he's super chilled.
Inside, I'm just like, fuck, I'm done now.
That's like everybody. That's like me. Everyone goes, you're so relaxed. I'm like, I am inside. I am a bag of turmoil. I am just that's going on inside. Like, oh, fucking hell, why am I alive?
People don't realize it. Like, even nowadays, people, if you mention stuff like, social anxiety or like anxiety disorders, sometimes people get a bit iffy. And it's like, no, I'm just stressed out. And I was like, that is a form of anxiety. And the world we live in, and this is a made up statistics, but I'm so sure of myself. I think 90% of the people suffer from some form of, an anxiety disorder.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they keep kind of run away from it. Like I have conversations with people who are like, they're stressed out. And I'd be like, have you thought about talking to someone? And they'd get like, sometimes they get offended. It's like, what do you mean? And I was like, I'm just saying that, I've been through this.
Yeah.
I'm not being like I know everything about it, but I'm just like maybe it would help.
Well, this is it. Yeah, go on.
No, sorry. I was just because I think James Acaster, he mentioned this on one of his podcasts as well.
Yeah.
You don't have to wait for it to be like, really bad to then seek help or like try it out, which I think is spot on.
Yeah. I think it's like you've said. I think because the world it feels like it's in such crisis at the minute, and the people that are in charge that we've put in charge. Oh, we haven't all voted for them, but the people that are in charge don't seem to be able. They seem to just making it worse. They don't know what they're doing.
Yeah,
we don't have any leaders. No, this is what we need. We need people to go, right, this is what we're doing for the good of everybody in the world. This is what we're doing. They're kind of it's like there's a dam and there's all these leaks in the dam, and they're just putting their fingers in the holes. Going, we're going to do that, and then more holes appear, and they haven't got enough fingers.
I mean, with the leaders we have, they're probably plugging the holes with the dicks. But
yeah, their dicks are the people's dicks.
That's it's. But I do understand. I think people are going like. It sounds so cheesy to say this every time, but I think society as a whole, is heading in the right direction. Just the pace is really slow.
Right. Yeah.
It's really slow. Like you can see there's a turn around the corner, but then if you look at it, it's just like it's 5 minutes away. But the pace where we're going at, it's probably gonna take at least 2 hours.
Yeah. I know. Yes. It's funny. I'm glad you said that because I catastrophize all the time. I've realised that I've just finished. I had some counselling for the last couple of months. So I've just had that, and I was talking about that. I always go to the most extreme in any situation. I'm like, well, that'll probably happen. Like the worst case scenario is going to happen. And then I read something the other day. They were going, oh, the world has been through however many mass extinctions before. We are now currently in a new one. And I'm like, fucking hell! All right. Well, I'm not paying my credit card off then. Fuck it.
But it's a good thing though, like, because my dad always tells me, like every time, like I'd have like a big gig or something, and I'd be like, oh, crap, I don't wanna die on stage and stuff like that. And that's been, I shit you not, I love my folks, but like the kind of realism they've been throwing at me since I was a kid. Like, I remember I used to go for like exams and stuff, and I'd be just, like shitting myself. And my dad's like, have you studied for this? And I think, I have studied. And he'd be like, then do your best and expect the worst. I was like, how is that going to help with my anxiety? Like, I'd write the right answer down. I'd be like, this is probably the wrong answer. I'm going to fail.
Yeah.
But in hindsight, that is kind of a good, like, at least for me, it's worked. Because then, I'm just out there doing what I need to, and then be like, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, I don't know.
Well, I'm the same. Yeah. Well, I get in my head sometimes, I go, it doesn't matter which decision I make or which fork I take.
Yeah.
It's going to be the wrong one. I always take the wrong one.
Oh yeah, I've stopped following my gut. Like,
oh really?
I was just like, I just called someone. I was like A or B. It's like, what are you talking about? It's just like pick one, and then that happens. And if something fucks up, it's like I call them back in like 3 months. Yeah, you shouldn't have picked B. I'm getting good at saying no now. I do. Whereas before, I'd go, yeah, all right then, because I wanted to please that person. I am better at going, I don't think I'm the person for that job, but I do know someone that might be. And so I push them in that direction. Whereas before I'd just go, oh yeah, all right then, and end up in so much trouble all the time. It's so hard though. Like I'm of the same, like, would you classify yourself as an empath?
Yes.
And I would like to think I'm an empath, but like an evil one. Like, I try to be nice, but sometimes deep down inside it's just like, maybe I shouldn't have that.
Right.
But like, I agree with you. It's so hard to say no.
Yeah.
And that gets you into situations like when I started doing comedy, one of the other main reasons was like I didn't have a social circle, like none whatsoever. Because I finished my master's, and by the time I graduated, I started dating someone, and so I just let go of all my friends because like, oh, they've got friends, and their friends are my friends, you know.
Yeah.
And then when you break up, all the friends just go. It's
Yes.
like, you know, they've taken the kids out of the divorce. So
Yeah.
I was literally on dating apps trying to make friends,
Oh, wow.
and it was and then when I got into comedy, it was just like build up a social circle and everything.
Yeah.
But then there's also this, you know, this fear of missing out and everything, where I'd be like, I know I need to be home in the next hour if I can get some food in, a decent amount of sleep in. But then there'd be someone who's just like, why don't you stick around? And I'd be like, I can, because I'm not drinking. So it's not, you know, I'm just going to be sleep deprived. I'm not going to be hungover.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But that's it. Yeah, there is that I've talked about this before. When we had the lockdowns, one of the problems was that we lost our little universe, all our little people.
Yeah.
We lost that, not necessarily the gigs, but we just lost like, seeing each other and being around each other, and that kind of silent understanding that we're all a bit strange because of what we've chosen to do.
Yeah.
But we kind of understood each other, and we were like, yes, this is our people, this is us.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we lost that.
It was, but whatever happened was not a good thing.
No.
But I think, at least, again, I say everything from my perspective. So it's like, if I sound a bit like a narcissist, I was like, maybe I am. But for me, at least, it helped me, you know, figure out like where my friends are and people who I can have like a healthy conversation and a healthy relationship with. Because that kind of makes a lot of difference as well. Because there's this term called like and they're energy vampires. I think that's what they call them.
Yeah. Social vampires. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was just like, there's a lot of those as well.
Yes.
And a lot of times you just don't realize, because it's really hard to differentiate between if it's a good thing or if you just have a bad habit. That seems like a good thing. And the whole, you know, being by yourself and lockdown and everything. For some of the people that I was, you know, talking to and like who I thought were within my like circle, I just realized it's like it was more of a habit kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And it's not a bad thing to, you know, let go of stuff. It's really hard.
Yeah. But sometimes there are yes. I mean, that's one thing I learned from this is there are some people in your life that it's just bad chemistry between you. It's not, and you know, friendship. I've got friendships now that are so effortless that I just every time I see that person, you don't have to pretend to be something you're not. There's no kind of, you don't have to do it. You just happen to be friends and you're having a nice time. Yeah, that's how it should be.
Basically, I was like, I have friends. They're like, you're a dickhead. I was like, but I'm your dickhead. And I was like, that is a stupid thing to say, but we get it. And it's also like, you know, people who help you improve. I don't want to be around people who just like, this is Ashish, he's an idiot, but you know, you get what you deal. And I want to be around someone who's just like, this is Ashish, he's an idiot, but he's a work in progress.
But that's it, isn't it? We all are.
Yeah.
Because of course there are people in my life, or have been in my life, that think I'm a fucking idiot and would rather not be around me because that's just how the chemistry was. We're just human beings, and we, you know, you're friends to some people, you're enemies to others, and that's how it is. It's just
that's fine.
And that's how you know, enemies is a bit strong. That might be a bit, mind you.
Oh, I've got a few enemies. So one of these, like you just scroll up, like what? Those are the hit lists.
Or the promoters that have wronged you.
Basically, I was just like, you didn't reply to my email.
Right, you're on the list, brother. Fuck you.
The number of open mic nights I've been banned from, just for the most stupidest reasons.
What?
There was one gig I was blacklisted from because I showed up late.
Yeah.
And I didn't email. I messaged them on Facebook or something.
Right.
I didn't see my message. And they were really annoyed. And I was at my leaving due. So I was like...
Right, yeah.
I was like, I'm going to be late. And they're like, you show up late. And the thing I did wrong was I showed up with the thought process that I'd sent a message, they've probably read it.
Yeah.
So the first thing I did was like, oh, hey, man, when am I on?
Wow. And they hadn't seen the message and they just thought you were an arrogant piece of shit.
Yeah. I was just like, what I should have done was like, oh, I'm a bit late. My apologies. Can you still put me on?
Yeah, but you didn't know. You didn't realize. And then it's just a breakdown in communication. But to blacklist you from the gig seems a bit harsh. Fuck them.
It's fine. Yeah. I learned my lesson. I always email now.
Wow. Yeah. Yes. It's a funny old one. I don't know. Yeah. There's a gig that I can't do, because someone was emailing on my behalf, and they got the name wrong of the promoter, and so the beginning of his reply was, firstly, that's not my name. You should, and this is all under my name. They don't realise it's someone else emailing for me.
Yeah.
And first rule of comedy is to get the promoter's name right. And I'm like, I didn't even bother reading the rest. I was like,
you're not going to book me again, I know.
There's no point in reading this. Just delete. Move on.
Have you ever blacklisted yourself from a gig? Like banned yourself?
There are gigs that I haven't done because I've heard different things from different sources about the promoter, and I've gone, no, I'm not doing that gig. I'd rather just not do the gig. Yeah, understandable. Yeah, I'm of the like I've got gigs like those, but then there are also I did a gig once where my name is Ashish, and I understand it's not like a common local name, so people are bound to mess it up. This one time I got introduced as Aladdin. Aladdin? Did you say Aladdin?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean,
it's not even a real country, man.
Oh my God. I wouldn't even mind, but that's not. I've never met someone called Aladdin. That's not even like. And there's loads of them.
It's I was like, I get that's the name. It's just, it's like, I mean, to be honest, my name in Aladdin has the same vowels, so I can understand how you like same number of letters, same vowels. Like, yeah, sure.
Because you turned up on a carpet, that's what threw him.
Oh, basically, that was the thing.
You will do
I didn't have a beanie. I had like.
Here he comes with his lamp. Fucking Aladdin. Oh God.
I was like, it was a good gig. I enjoyed it.
Was it magical?
It was a miracle.
Did you show them the world?
I did. I had to stop when the tiger walked in, but
no pets. Oh fuck.
This is not done.
No. Hey, come on, man. Is that a guide? Is that a guide tiger?
No, it was a therapy tiger.
I can't go anywhere without my tiger.
He's just like, you annoy me, I'll bite you.
Oh my God. What a brilliant way to finish. Jesus Christ. Where can we find you online, Ashish?
Instagram at Scientist Suri. I've been on Twitter for 2 months.
Oh yeah.
Fucking amazing. I've got 29 followers.
Yes, mate, smashing it.
And only 19 of them are comedians. So I was like, I'm getting there.
Yeah.
At Twitter's the same, at Scientist Suri. I am setting up a website.
Okay.
So it's work in progress, but I'll plug it out because 2 months down the line, you're gonna love that shit.
It's good to be ahead of the curve.
Basically, I was just like, this is me being clairvoyant. The website is the same at scientistsuri.com and also ashishsuri.com. But yeah, fantastic. And also, just if you see me on the streets, talk to me. I don't mind. Just don't try to sell me weed. That's kind of...
And don't touch his tiger.
Yeah, basically, stay away from my pets. That sounds like such a bad euphemism now.
Don't stroke his tiger.
Don't stroke my trident.
Sheesh, thanks, man. This has been great.
A pleasure's been on mine. It's I can't say this enough. You know?
Dude.
4 years ago, I was sitting in the audience, and to be able to have this conversation with you now, it's for me, it's like a really big thing. So thank you so much for having me.
Made my day, man. Thank you very much. Love you.
A pleasure. I love you.
Love you.